Tubers! So we got a little surprise back from Breitling. We had this guy in service for, I don't know, maybe about 2.5, 3 months now. I don't know if you can really tell in the details here, but this is how they sent it back to me. And if you look there, it's got this little nice embossing with Breitling logo. It's a nice little case that they sent my watch back in. I don't know if you've seen the video where I tried to take apart this Breitling and I tried to repair it. This is the Breitling model B2. Reference number is A4342362 on this model. This was my very first luxury watch that I purchased. So I've been through thick and thin with this watch. I've been through everything with this watch. This watch has gone through my wedding, my kid, my first kid, my second kid, and it's been quite the journey with this watch. This watch was really abused. I used the daylights out of this watch, and a while back, it had some really lots of dirt right under this pusher here, and it really wouldn't come back out anymore. It would kind of stay in the watch, and until I pushed the reset pusher, this button would just kind of stay there. So we went ahead and had it serviced. We sent it out to Breitling. They did a complete overhaul on this watch, and I'm really glad that I did. It wasn't cheap. It was quite a hefty bill to have this watch refinished in the condition that it's in now. The reason was because this case is what they call an integrated case. So the case has to be, I essentially had to buy a brand new case for this watch. While we did the purchase on the new on a brand new case, which comes with the pushers and whatnot, they suggested that we redo the bezel because the bezel was really dinged up and scratched up, and paint was kind of, starting to come off here and there. And they suggested that we redo the crystal because the crystal, I don't know if you can see the reflection on here. Yes. It was discoloring over time. It had these discolorations, marks, scratches on the coating. So they suggested that, and they also suggested that we redo the hands, new hands. And when it came back, when this watch came back, I was royally pleased with how this turned out. This is essentially a brand new watch. The movement's been completely overhauled by Breitling. Even the case back is brand new, I believe. The serial number on this watch could not be read before. It was so worn that it just could not be read. We barely was able to just kind of pick out the numbers, and we had to use a loop just to try and get the numbers in there, just to get the numbers just to send it into service. Now, it's still got now it has the Breitling sticker on here as if it was a brand new watch. I haven't taken it off yet because it just feels so nice to have this old watch in my hands, sparkling the way it does. Look at the way the light shines off that bezel. It is spectacular. This is a 43.2 millimeter watch. The push down crown, there is no locking on the crown here. So this watch is not very waterproof. It is an aviator watch. It is a certified, it is a Breitling chronometer 2, I believe is what they call it, chronometer 3, or is it, no, Breitling 42. It is an ETA movement on this watch. This is not a in-house watch movement. But it's a really cool looking watch, and it's it's kind of got that vintage flair to it, without being too vintage like. It looks like a modern watch, but with just a bit of that vintage flair. This is a 32 jewel Breitling caliber 42. It's self-finding movement. It has what they call a very special 3-hour and 10-minute, 3-hour totalizer and 10-minute totalizer. So when you do use the chronometer or chronograph, you'll get the second hand here, and you get the 3-hour mark totalizer here, and you get an individual 10-minute totalizer there, which is also marked in by when you look here, it's actually on the 3-hour totalizer here, it's marked out by 20-minute increments. So that way you kind of understand how many minutes actually has gone by. And oh God, I can't believe how good this thing looks. Everywhere it's just so blingy. One thing that kind of took me by surprise was when they refinished this watch and bracelet. I don't ever recall having polished center links on this bracelet. I always I remember it as having a totally brushed bracelet, but now it has the polished links. And I think it's because the watch case is completely polished and the sides of the bezel is polished, and it actually looks really good. I'm not a very big fan of polished center links just because they get scratched up really easily and it diminishes the new look of the watch. But on the wrist, it has a really nice presence now. One thing that I never really liked about this particular watch, after a little while, when it was brand new, it was fine. After a little while, they came out with the 7-link bracelet, and the 7-link bracelet looks so much better than this bracelet. This bracelet started looking really old because it's just a 3-link, and it's got the diagonal cuts in the line in the bracelet itself, but the 7-link just looked more modern. It was a newer watch. This watch, it kind of looks outdated. But with the center links polished like this, now it looks really good, unbelievably good. And what they also did was they also polished this link right here, this little indentation or impression, or how do you call that? It's a convex little thing that that's on the it's just an indentation on the bracelet. I can tell that this was not brand new. It's still the same one that I always had. But overall, super pleased with the way the watch turned out. There's a couple cool features on this watch. This is a bi-directional bezel. Okay, now I'm gonna zoom in here just a tad here, just to show you what I'm talking about when I say it's really cool. You look at the bezel and you look at the inner bezel that spins for the slide rule, and they spin at a different rate. See that? So the reason why I mentioned this is because if you look at the Navitimer and you spin that bezel, and it's a 1-to-1 spin. And if you're curious, which I thought was kind of weird, because when I first got, I've had the B2 forever. This B1 is a recent, this Navitimer is a recent purchase. So if I place this on top of the Navitimer, you can see that the crystal spins with the bezel. Now, if I take the Breitling B2 and I place something on the crystal here, check this out. That crystal, yes sir, is completely floating and is stationary. It does not move with the bezel. So they have a really cool way they did that. They have a little gear mechanism right in here that spins the inside bezel and the outside bezel. One thing that's really tricky is every time, however, one thing that is tricky is whenever you spin this 360 degrees, now the 60 marker on the inside and the tachymeter scale, it doesn't line up right. So you have to always spin it, continue to spin it until that lines up just perfect, just because everybody's OCD, right? So we do have a loom at the top here, which spins with the bezel to let you know where that 360 is. The slide rule, of course, everybody who doesn't use the slide rule on these watches, everybody uses the slide rule, right? It's not there just for looks. It's actually a mechanical prowess for all of us who are watch nerds. Some people use it to time their drinks at night. Some people use it just to time. But anyways, this is my brand new Breitling B-2 that has been serviced by Breitling. Just to let you know what this cost, I ended up paying about a little over $1,600 just to have this watch in the current condition that it is in. But I think it was well worth it. It's a beautiful watch. It's a beautiful piece that I've always had with me. And you know, for being a 2020 watch, it is spectacular. So anyways, that's the vid. Toodaloo.